So, greetings to our viewers, listeners, and supporters. I would like to take this opportunity in thanking you all for supporting our last week's podcast, which is about the importance of research in the field of communication. And now, we will have a very interesting and bizarre topic for some, since I think most of us, especially to the other viewers of our contents, doesn't know about this concept. So, what do you think it is?
Yes, Jaylord. And I guess halata naman sa title natin on what we are about to discuss for this episode or for this podcast, of course.
So, I think alam naman na nila yan since nakalagay na nga sa title. So, without further ado, Ellen, take it away.
So, guys, our topic for today is all about development communication. And first, I will discuss to you the concept of development communication. Development communication is a field of study and practice that focuses on using communication strategies and tools to promote social and economic development. This can include using various forms of media such as radio, television, and print to disseminate information about development initiatives and programs, as well as to engage with local communities and stakeholders to understand their needs and concerns and to foster dialogue and collaboration around development efforts. Development communication aims to support the development process by providing people with the information and tools they need to improve their lives and community.
Yan. So, thank you so much, Ellen. So, I think nasabi naman na ni Ellen yung mga dapat nating malaman na information connected sa development communication or DevCom. And based na rin sa mga sinabi niya, development communication focuses on using communication strategies and tools to promote social and economic development. Then the next one is development communication ay gumagamit ng various forms of media to disseminate information about development initiatives and programs such as newspaper, radio, and even television. And of course, development communication engage with local communities and stakeholders to understand their needs and concern. And lastly, development communication provides people with the information and tools they need to improve their lives and communities. So para naman sa next part ng ating sesh talk, Michael will help us to better understand on how development communication was born. So Michael,
There you go. Thank you very much, Jaylord, for introducing me, of course, to our dearest viewers out there. So guys, continue na tayo sa pag-support. And of course, para tuloy-tuloy ang ating Sesh Talk every Saturday. So at this point, I am very glad and of course, I'm very thrilled in taking my part on this podcast episode where I will be discussing, of course, about the history of development communication as a field of study. And at this point of time, I am very pleased in doing a very informative, detailed discussion, of course, for our viewers, particularly for those who's in the same field of study, to better understand, of course, the history of development communication. So, because you guys are kind of special to me, I would love to give you first a very brief introduction on what really development communication is. Wherein the history of development communication is actually a long and complex one. Tracking back, of course, to the earliest civilizations, development has been an integral part of human societies since ancient times as people sought to improve their lives through the use of the technological advancements and better use of the resources that they have during that time. So during this time, at our age, of course, many different approaches to development have emerged from traditional methods based on trial and error experimentation and empirical knowledge to modern strategies that really heavily rely on the scientific research and of course data analysis. So in recent decades, the concept of the sustainable development has actually become increasingly important in global discussions about, of course, the issues or the topic with regards to the economic growth and social progress. And today, international organizations such as the United Nations are now working with the governments around the world to create policies that promote equitable access to resources while protecting our environment for future generations. So there you go for my very brief introduction. So at this point, we will now go dig deeper on the history of the development communication as a field of study, wherein the development communication actually emerged in the year 1950s and 1960s as a response to the need for effective communication strategies and the process of development. So this time was actually when many developing countries were undergoing to the rapid economic and social change. And there was actually a growing recognition on the importance of communication and facilitating development during that year or time. So initially, development communication actually focused on the use of mass media such as the radio and television, which is being used in disseminating, of course, information as well as promoting social change among its audience or viewers. However, the field has actually evolved over time, which we actually witnessed. And this evolution over time is actually encompass a broader range of communication strategies, including the community-based communication, participatory communication, and of course, the new media technology. So in the year 1980s and 1990s, development communication actually began to shift its focus from simply providing information to empowering communities and fostering dialogue and participation. So this shift actually influenced by theories of empowerment as well as the participatory development and critical communication, which emphasize, of course, the importance or the significance of the community involvement and empowerment in the development process. So today, at our age, in the 21st century, development communication actually continues to evolve and adapt on the changing needs and context of development, which it remains an important field of study. That's why we're studying this right now for our podcast, for understanding, of course, the role of communication and facilitating development and promoting social change. So that it for the history of the development of communication. And at this point, I am now giving back the floor again, of course, to J. Lord Verdadero. Thank you very much, guys.
Ayan. So thank you so much, Michael, for that wonderful discussion about the history of development communication as a field of study. So grabe no, noon pa pala na-recognize ang DevCom, pero I think com student or some of our viewers lang talaga ang makaka-relate or makakaalam sa concept na to. Pero ganun pa man, thank you so much, Michael, for enlightening us on how DevCom had start as a field of study. So for the last part, ayaw ko na kayong bitinin pa. Mother Ellen, italak mo na yan.
Thank you, J. Lord. So, for the last part of our podcast, I am discussing the unique differences of DevCom from these allied fields so as their similarities. So, development communication is a field that focuses on the use of communication, strategies, and tools to promote development and social change in various communities. It is an interdisciplinary field that incorporates theories and practices from fields such as sociology, anthropology, communication studies, and development studies. One of the unique differences between development communication from other allied fields is its emphasis on the role of communication in facilitating development and social change. So, this focus sets development communication apart from fields such as public relations, marketing, and advertising, which are primarily concerned with promoting a specific product or organization. Another unique difference in development communication is its holistic approach to development. Development communication practitioners recognize that development is a complex and multifaceted process that involves various factors such as economic, social, political, and cultural factors. This approach sets development communication apart from fields such as development studies and international development, which often focus on specific aspects on development such as economic growth or poverty reduction. Despite these unique differences, development communication shares some similarities with other allied fields. For example, development communication practitioners often use communication tools and strategies similar to those used in public relations and marketing. They may also rely on theories and concepts from fields such as sociology and anthropology in their work. Additionally, development communication practitioners often work closely with organizations and institutions involved in the development, such as NGOs and government agencies, which is similar to the work of development studies and international development practitioners.
Ayan. So, thank you so much again, Ellen. So, grabe. Ang masabi ko lang, wow. Just wow. And na-realize ko kung gaano ka-importante ang DevCom sa ating society, since development communication is a crucial aspect of development, as it helps to facilitate dialogue and understanding between different stakeholders, promotes participation empowerment, and enables the sharing of information and knowledge. By utilizing effective communication strategies and techniques, development practitioners can effectively engage with communities and support their growth and progress. Overall, development communications play a vital role in promoting sustainable development and improving the lives of people around the world. And that would end our pangmalakasang sesh talk for today. So ano naman masasabi niyo, Ellen at Michael?
So yeah, it was indeed full of knowledge sharing with this Sesh talk, and I've learned a lot from the concept of DevCom to the history of development communication, which is also nice that we guys talk about this since a lot of podcasts don't even have this kind of topic, and it would be also a pleasure to share this knowledge with our listeners, of course. So how about you, Michael? Anong masasabi mo naman?
Yes, thank you very much, Ellen and Jaylord. I actually had fun in discussing the history of the development communication, of course, as our field of study. And after this brief discussion, one thing is what I truly realized. Wherein the development communication is actually very important tool in promoting social and economic development amongst the countries. And it actually helps in creating awareness about the different issues as well as the different arising knots related to the development to spread awareness of the resources that could actually improve, of course, the life of the people on the different sectors wherein it actually includes the topics with regards to the healthcare, about the education services, and encourages participation in the development activities, which provides a platform for dialogue between stakeholders and amongst the countries, various countries around the globe. So by engaging people in meaningful conversations like this on our podcast, like what we're having right now, it actually helps or assists the people in understanding how different decisions can affect their future, as it has the potential to bring positive change at the individual as well as the community level on a larger scale. So that's pretty much for my takeaways after this podcast. Thank you very much.
Ayan. So again, guys, for you to be notified of our latest content, please do not forget to click the notification bell and subscribe button for you to be notified sa mga bagong pangmalakasang Sesh Talk. Again, I am Jaylord M. Verdadero, and don't forget to follow our podcast other accounts, Sesh Talk 101 for Facebook and at Talakitok 101 for TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Bye guys, see you next week for another Talakan.